Okay, good night, my fellow subscribers and other guests who have been, you know, watching our live streams. Unfortunately, you'll not be able to see me tonight my on my camera, but you'll be able to see the work being done. So, good evening to you once again. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, I am asking you to go and subscribe. If you have not yet shared this channel with a friend or a family, we're asking you please to do so. All right, so last week we looked at a few measurement questions, and tonight we're wrapping up those measurement questions and going to our second session, which is algebra, right? Um, so we're going live now with the presentation. Just give me a second to start up. Apologize for being late. We should have started at 8 o'clock on the dot Jamaica time, but I was busy wrapping up a class with a student. So please do forgive me. All right. So we're going to continue to remain consistent with, you know, carrying out what we promise that we'll do. And so now we're going to start off with our first question tonight. So tonight we're looking at measurements, finishing up the measurement questions, and then of course we are going to be moving into some algebra questions. So here we go now. Now, I would like for you to um, take a note of a few things. Now, the exam results, for the Caribbean CSEC exam, of course, 36% pass of those who sat the exam, especially in Jamaica. It's really not a good look. So, of course, CDPLABS Eduservices decides to, give a helping hand this time around where the mathematics is concerned. We did the same thing for human and social biology, and quite a few of our students did well. So, yeah, quite a few of our students did well in human and social biology that year when we went live. Now, I must say this to you too, as well, that to perform well at mathematics, you have 3 grades you can get: a grade 1, a grade 2, and a grade 3. And for those persons who are not in the Caribbean, a grade 1 is like a grade 2 is like a B, and a grade 3 is like a C. A grade 1 is like a 4.0. A grade 2 is like somewhere between a 3.0 and a 4.0. And a grade C is a grade 3 rather, is somewhere between I guess 2.5 and 3.0, somewhere along there. All right. So just for you to understand what it is. Now, in order to perform well at mathematics, you have to have what we call a concrete understanding, experiential understanding. Be able to have a physical, in touch, hands-on with the content. And CDPLABS Eduservices indeed provides you with such experience based on the system that we use to prepare our students. Now, the only way our students will fail is if they fail to follow instructions. Now, don't expect that you're going to pass your exams if you don't follow instructions. You don't expect you're going to pass your exam if you don't practice. Following instructions, making time for practice is very important to your success. Think about a seed. If you plant a seed and you don't, if you decide to plant something, there are several things that you must do. You have to sow the seed in the soil. You have to water the plant consistently, daily, apart from God providing rain. So there are conditions for success. So if you don't place yourself in that condition, then you're not going to perform as you should perform. All right? As we go along, we'll say more about being successful in the maths exam. Let's look at this question. It says in this problem, you should take pi to be 22 over 7, right? And the diagram below is not drawn to scale. Normally, I tell my students that you can draw this to scale. But you might be saying, sir, how am I going to draw this to scale? 28 meters to scale. Well, well, good question. But what you could do then is make a model of the question. So you can choose, when you look on your ruler, you can choose a diameter of any line, of any length rather, and make up a question similar to it. Just by making up a question. And you do this when you're practicing, not necessarily in the exam, but because when you practice, it becomes, so whatever you practice, you become. What it means is that when you practice something, eventually becomes a norm. So time would not matter in being able to do this question or any question similar to this. All right. All right. But let us go ahead and try and solve the problem. So the diagram below, not drawn to scale, shows a field in the shape of a sector of a circle with center O and diameter 28 meters. Angle POZ is 90 degrees. Now, note a few things. Note a few things. The letter in the middle is normally where the angle is from. 90 degrees, as you can see. Good. The sector of. What does the word sector of mean? It can mean part of. So when we talk about part of, what are we talking about? Fraction. So we can replace the phrase sector of with the phrase a fraction of. So you use term that you understand. Now what are we doing? We're analyzing the information, right? Fraction of a circle. So therefore, a part of your calculation would require you to find what fraction of a circle would this sector be, is this sector. Good? Now, if you were to take, well, I'm not teaching right now, I'm because I love to teach. And so even though I'm supposed to be solving the problem in the time that is given, I still want to give you some ideas that you can use if you're, being that you might be an hands-on learner. Good? So I'm just saying now that you can take a paper, draw a circle, use any cylindrical object or a coin. Well, a coin might be too small, but draw a bigger circle. Fold that circle into quarters, into four parts, and you'll realize that you'll get this same sector where the angle would be 90 degrees. So the angle can tell us the fraction. Also, now that 90 degrees is a part of the total circle, which is 360 degrees. Now, if you reduce this fraction, 90 itself go one time, and into 360, you get four times, and it's equivalent to a quarter. So we know that you can use the angle to determine what fraction of the circle is the sector. So we have that. So we understand that. So we know that this sector represents a quarter of a circle using the angle given. Now, and a diameter of 28 meters. Now, we know now this word diameter, so the vocabulary is important. Vocabulary use is important. So sometimes why persons fail to get the full marks for exam questions like these is because they don't make sure that they can identify the vocabulary being used. So the vocabulary being used right here, sector of, circle, diameter, angle. These vocabulary is important. So the diameter of a line, the diameter of a circle, we know this is a line that runs directly through the center of a circle. Now, but the length from Z to the center O is not the diameter of the circle. It is the radius of the circle. Radius of the circle. Now, we didn't know then now. So what we're doing here now, we're applying knowledge now. These questions help you to apply knowledge. So one of the skills that you have to work on, one of the skills that you have to work on right now, when when um when doing maths, being prepared for maths exams such as CXC, is you have to get the knowledge of being able to apply the knowledge, which is very important. Application of the knowledge is the key right here. That is the key. Good. So we know now that the radius is half the diameter. So for that they give us the diameter, we're going to apply our understanding that the radius is half the diameter. Therefore, we know what this length is from O to Z. Because of our practical experience, we know that the radius is the same, it's equal. So this then is 14 meters. And here's also 14 meters. Good. How do we know that? Because we know that the half of the diameter gives us the length of the radius. All right. Now, if you are viewing this channel right now, I'm going to ask you, if you have not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you have not shared the link, share it with a friend or a family who you know will be doing exam next year, especially in January. So if you know any such person, share the link with them. The more persons that we see watching our channel live as we are, then we're able to get to that upbeat part of the program, which is to have you participate fully, not just by watching, but physically participating. You might either join us in Zoom, or when we send the link in the chat, you can in fact participate in our quiz competition that we normally would have. All right. So, and if you like the information coming to you, just click on the like button. All right. So share, subscribe, and click on the like button. And leave a comment as well, right? Now, let us continue. So basically, we have exhaust the information here. Now, what they ask us to find out, they ask us to find the area of the field. Now, you might say, okay, it's a sector. The area of the sector, is really what you're really doing is finding the fraction of the area of a circle. That's what you're doing. You find the fraction of the area of the circle. Now we know what the fraction is already, which is a quarter. And how we know? Because we use the angle. All right. Now the area of a circle, the formula is pi r squared. Pi r squared. So basically what we're going to be doing is this. Let me kind of fix that up. Rewrite this properly. It is quarter of the area of the circle. That's it. So this is it. This will give us the area of this sector. How we get the quarter? Because we know that 90 degrees is quarter of what? The full circle. Now, pi, they told us to use pi as 22 over 7. So we're going to use pi as 22 over 7. So I'll use substituting now. Quarter, which is a constant, another constant now. Well, it's not really a constant because it could have been a different angle, right? But the pi is definitely constant because pi doesn't change. So that's 22 over 7. And the radius is 14. R is 14. But radius square means 14 times 14. So you can write it twice. And now it becomes multiplication of fractions. So if your fraction is weak, you will have a problem with measurements. So make sure your fraction is not weak. Make sure your fraction is strong. So we can go ahead and multiply now, right? So we can say 7 into 14 goes 2 times. And then we can say 2 into 4. 4 into 2 into 4 goes 2 times right here. But 2 into 22 goes what? 11 times. But we can also get rid of this 2 by saying 2 into 7 goes 1. 2 into this 2 go 1. So now we're left with 11 times 14 to get our final answer for the area of a sector. For those who are watching live, you can also place the answer in the chat. All right. So if you're watching us live, you can place the answer in the chat. Now, there are simple ways of multiplying without using a calculator. You can simply say 10 times 11 is 110. And then 4 times 11 is 44. And then you can add it. You get 154 meters square. All right. You can proof check it with your calculator and make sure that we're all having the same answer. All right. So that would be then 11 times 14. 154. That's correct. All right. Simple. So again, comprehension is important. Identifying the keywords is important. And restating these keywords using your own words, or you apply your knowledge that you have. Because sometimes we can call a word, we can pronounce a word, but where the problem comes in is a matter of understand what the word means. And we use our prior knowledge to help that. So don't just jump into calculations like that. That's a mistake that many students make. All right. So the area is 114 square, no, meter square rather. All right. So now we're going to move on to the next piece of the question. Now we all go live on Thursday nights, 8 o'clock Jamaican time. So wherever you are in the world, you just find out what's the time difference between Jamaica and where you are, and you'll know what time we go live. All right, so let's move on to our other question. Now, at the top, it says the perimeter of the field. So now we want to know the perimeter of the field. Good. Now, again, the word perimeter. So I've looked at the vocabulary. The vocabulary is important. Perimeter, what the word perimeter means. It doesn't have anything to do with a shape. Other persons might associate the word perimeter with a shape, like maybe a quadrilateral, a square, rectangle. No, but perimeter really means the distance around, because sometimes we use the term perimeter fencing, and the land that you're creating that perimeter fencing for doesn't have to be a regular shape. It can be an irregular shape. But um, if you're going to purchase the fence and you want to know the length that you're going to be covering, then naturally you have to understand what we mean by perimeter fencing. So perimeter fencing is the distance around. And for some persons, they will say the total distance around. Total distance around, right? So let's go back to the shape. Let's go back to the shape. So we're going to go back to the shape right now. So we have to understand what we're being asked before, we do anything else. So we're going to go back to the shape. No, let's go back to the shape. So they want to find out the perimeter of this shape. Good? The perimeter of this shape. Now, once again, there is a link. So if persons who wish to join the CDPLABS Eduservices school, you can, please note that we are a member of the Jamaica Online School Association. We are partnering with other institutions to make the service to our students, our customers, of great quality. That, for example, CDPLABS will focus on the mathematics, especially for the adults. And we have a school that will focus on English language, a school that focus on business subjects only, and we focus also on the sciences. So you will not have one school trying to focus on so much different things. We want to make sure that our students get the quality service and they're properly being prepared for these exams. Because you spend your money not only for preparation, but to do the exams to achieve your goals in life that you have set out to achieve. So if you want to join the CDPLABS program, you can look in our description and you click on the link and you can apply. Application is free. Let's continue with the questions. So we're now going to find out the perimeter now of this field. Now, remember now we said that the perimeter is the total or the distance around. Now the distance around include the length of P to O, O to Z, and Z to P. Now, if it says total distance around, that word total simply means that you're going to what? Add. So we're going to add this length to this length to this length. But the question is, do we know the measurement of all the lengths? The answer is no. We only know the measurement of P to O, which will be 14 meters, which is the radius, and O to Z, another 14 meters. And bear in mind that the radius is always what? Equal. So that left us with that we cannot find the perimeter unless we know the length P to Z. Now, looking at the shape, the length P to Z is a curved line. But remember that a sector is a what? Part of a circle. Therefore, that circle, I'm going to show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's a full circle. Good. Now, if you were to draw that sector, and again, I'm not allowed to be teaching in the program to also be going through the questions. But if you were a student, registered student, then you'll get some exercises as to how you can make mathematics real to you, and you feel you can have a good understanding and a good understanding of it. Now, so here's the sector. Good. Now, so this is the sector, as I made a right angle right here to create this sector for you. I'm going to show you that now, right? So here we have the right angle, right? So just want to recognize now that the sector is really a part of the circle. So this portion right here is this. Good. That's the portion right there, right? Now, so sorry, that portion right there is this. So what we're saying now is that if you notice now that if this, let's say that this was P, this was Z, and here's O, you notice now that P to Z is a fraction of the entire circle. Now the entire circle, the line here that creates that circle is called the what? Circumference. So that is the circumference right there. So we're talking about the circumference right here. Circumference. So therefore, P to Z is a fraction of the circumference. Do we know what fraction it is? Yes, we know what fraction it is. We use the angle again to determine that fraction, which is 90 degrees. Therefore, that portion of the circle is a quarter of the circumference. I hope it is clear to you. So this portion of the circle, same here thing right here, is a quarter of the circumference, quarter of C. Now, how we know it's a quarter? We know it's a quarter because we use the angle here. And we'll put that angle, for those of you who are just joining us, over 360. And you can divide, reduce it to find the equivalent fraction, or otherwise write it in its lowest term. So therefore, we can say 9 in itself goes one time, and 9 into 3, 36 rather, goes 4 times. It's a quarter. So 90 over 360 is equivalent to a quarter. So that's how we came up with the idea as a quarter. Now, do we know the circumference? No, we don't know the circumference. So therefore, we need to find out then what is the circumference, or what's the value of the circumference. So to calculate the circumference. Now, we know that circumference, you can use two formulas. You can either say pi times the diameter, or you can say 2 pi r, which means 2 times the pi and the radius. However, we don't need to use this one. We can just use this one right here. Why? Because we're given the diameter and we're given pi. So let's use pi. 22 over 7 they told us to do. And then we multiply that by the diameter, which is 28 over 1. and we can multiply. 77 goes one time, 7 to 28 goes 4 times. So the length, or it's otherwise called the arc. Good. So the length of the arc is 88 meters. So now we find the length of that. So we can now answer the question now and find the perimeter of the field. So then, and some of you who know about softball or baseball, they basically have a sector design on the field. Exactly. All right. So we can add everything now. 88 plus 28 will give us our answer right there. So you follow me up to the top, you'll get us 8 and 8, 16, 10 and 1, 11. That's 116. That is the perimeter of the field. All right. Hope you understood that. Hope you got that one. So the area is 154 square meters and the perimeter is 116 meters. Okay. All right. Now remember, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, we are asking that your donation to this channel is to subscribe, share the link, and leave a comment. And if you like it, why not tell us by clicking on the thumb? All right, so now we're going to go to part B of this question. No, well, since in the diagram below, not drawn to scale, shows a triangular prism. And note it says triangular. Therefore, the word triangular is an adjective describing the prism. Triangular. And the word triangular is coming from the word triangle. Well, look at the shape. Do you see a triangle? Yes. You see two triangles, one here and another here. So therefore, they're using the triangle as the base of the prism. So the base of the prism is what they use to describe the prism. Good. Now the cross section is a right angle triangle. So if you know what a right angle triangle looks like, you'll be able to identify the cross section. So we find a right angle right here. So this portion here is referred to as the what? The cross section. ABC. And of course, they have named the triangle ABC. So it's right there. Now, AB, with the length of it, distance from A to B is 6 centimeters. And of course, distance from B to C is 10 centimeters. And of course, these two triangles are the same size, right? Now, let's continue. They want us to find the area of the triangle ABC. Now, it's a right angle triangle. And we know the famous formula for a right angle triangle. Half the product of the base times its perpendicular height. No, CXC is a nice exam. They only give us the base, but they didn't give us the height. So the height remains unknown. So we now have to determine the height. Okay. Now, which other branch of mathematics are they linking this question to? That is how CXC is set up. So you have to use another branch of mathematics now to help it to solve. Well, technically, that branch of mathematics will come under measurement still. Trigonometry still comes under measurement. Believe it or not, it still does. Because you're measuring angles. measuring lengths of line. So it still comes under measurement technically, right? Now, there's a particular theory or theorem that we can use to determine um, length AC, and that is the Pythagoras theorem. Good. Now, the Pythagoras theorem goes like this. C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. Now, normally, this length is C, but of course, they're using AB as C now. But it doesn't really matter. The thing about it is that we know that this would be the 10. So therefore, to be 10 squared, I will just substitute in now. So A squared, if you want to choose any of the length, it doesn't really matter which one you want to choose, really. So let's use H squared as A and the other length as B squared. So 6 squared. Then we can simplify it. So algebra comes into play now. So we say algebra, trigonometry, measurement. Can you imagine? So you can't just prepare for one area of the syllabus. You have to go through all areas and try to master all areas, which you can do that through the CDPLABS Eduservices program. I'm not talking about, because we don't let out all the secrets in our YouTube live. If you want to know some of the secrets, then you have to register with the school. Fair enough? All right. Now, the C square is 100. 10 square is 100, because 10 square is 100. I will still have 8 square to work with. And then 6 square is 36. Now, you'll have to find the difference between 136, between 100 and 36 to find 8 square. So 8 square then is the difference between these two. So 100 minus 36 would now be equal to what? 64. Now, so 8 square is 64. So the question being asked here now, what number when multiplied by itself will give us 64? That's 8. So therefore, h is equal to 8. So now we know what the perpendicular height is, which is now 8 centimeters. Then we can find the area. Now you see how much things you had to do now to figure this out. Wasn't easy, right? Okay. Now, as another secret to this one, I can't get a secret. If you want to know the secret, register with CDPLABS, because there's a different way. If you didn't know the Pythagoras theorem, there's a practical way you could use to figure out this answer. Very practical way. So we can apply the formula half base times height. Now we know that the height, the base is 6, so half of 6 is 3 times the height is 24. The height is 8. So the answer then is 24 square meters. Some person centimeters square, but the right term is square meters. All right, so let's move on from here. So now we know the area of that. Thanks to YouTube, we can watch the delay recording. If you're just joining us. All right, so let's move on now to our next question. Now, we have to now find the length of the prism if the volume is 540 cubic centimeters, right? We have to now find the length of the prism if the volume is 540 cubic centimeters. No, Please pay attention to the information given. Now we need to find the length where we we know two things about this prism. You want to know which two things you know? We know the volume because they just gave it to us right here. But we also know the area of the base. We also know the area of the base because the area of the base is what we just calculated. So we know that. So the area of the base is 24 square centimeters. And we know the volume. Now the length would have been that height of the prism. Good. Now, how do we know or how do we use what we know to find out what we don't know? Because that is one of the things you need to apply when you're solving mathematical problems. You need to identify, it's just like being a detective. Just like being a detective, right? Now, in order to for a lawyer to win a case, he has to have evidence. So the detectives go and get the evidence and provide the lawyer with the evidence so the lawyer can carry out a defense or prosecution. So as mathematicians, you're like lawyers, you're like detectives. You're going to get the evidence. What is that we know? That's the evidence. And the evidence in the question here is the volume and the area. Some evidence come readily, like they give us the volume, but some evidence you have to go and search for it, like we did the calculation. That's where I'm coming from. So if you're doing mathematics, think like a detective, and it will become easier for you to appreciate it and have a better understanding. So then, how do we use now the evidence that we have to solve this case? Now, we go back to the law. Let's go back to the law. So much up to a court case. Let us go back to the law. What is the law? The law says that the volume of a prism is equal to the area of its base times its perpendicular height. So this is the law. So we're going to use the law now along with the evidence to solve the problem. So what were we saying? Let's pause for a minute. I'm giving us some hints how dynamic CDP Labs is. So the dynamics our students get when they're preparing for exam. I am asking you, if you want to get more out of CDP Labs Eduservices, just apply. Click on go in the description, click on the application link, and apply. Share it with a friend, share it with a family. Don't be, it's a sharing, it's caring. Show your friends and family that you care for them by sharing the link with them. So they give us the volume, so we'll substitute, we're applying the law. So this is 540. We calculated the area. So we're using now, we're applying our evidence to the law, and then this is 24. So to solve the case now. Now we know that you have to do the reverse. That's how we know. That's how we use the law now. We're using the law now. So we're reverse now. So we're multiplying the law to get the volume. So we have to do the reverse to find the height. Therefore, we have to divide the 540 by 24. And then you'll get the height. Sorry. So that's where at all. So you can use a calculator, work along with me. if you so desire. So according to my calculator now, this is 540 divided by 24. Therefore, our the length is equal to 22.5 centimeters. Now, we're now being asked, don't look at the decimal. Don't worry about the decimal. Because when you're measuring the length of certain things, sometimes it goes off into decimals, right? So 22.5 centimeters, half of a centimeter. And a centimeter is 10 millimeter. Remember, 1 centimeter is 10 millimeter. So therefore, half of 10 is 5. So it's 5 millimeters. So if you were to convert that 22 centimeters to millimeter, it will be 220 millimeters. Therefore, the full length now would be what? 225 millimeters. So if you want to get rid of the decimal, they have to convert from centimeters to millimeters to get rid of the decimal in this case, which not necessary, right? So therefore, height is 22.5. Make note of these, all right? So now we're going to now go to the surface area of the prism. So we have 6 minutes left to go in our presentation tonight. And of course, every Thursday night we go live. So if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, then now is the time to subscribe to the channel so you know when we'll go live again. Because we did start a little bit late tonight. Reason being, I was wrapping up a class, a one-on-one session with a student. All right, and we do have our overseas-based students. We have students in the Turk and Caicos, students in Florida, and we've always had overseas-based students who, of course, work with us. So I want to know the surface area of the prism. Now, this is a prism. So we have discovered two things. The length, 22.5, which is equal to this length, 22.5. We have discovered this length, which is 8, but we also know the area of it, which is 24. Half base times height. 3 8 24. 8 plus 8 is 16, and 8 is 24. Good? No. So it's supposed to be 22.5, not 25.3. 22.5, right? So we know some measurements here. Now, when you want to find the surface area of something, now, you see, we're doing too much teaching and the thing, but anyway, when you want to find the surface area of the thing, what do we do when we want to find the surface area of it? Simple thing. All right, so we see some persons send WhatsApp. Uh, okay, I see Ayush says, sir, you are great. Thank you very much, Ayush. Um, I have a problem in it is the question of which grade. What do you mean which grade? I have a problem. It is the question of which grade. What do you mean by which grade? Um, Ayush says, what do you mean by which grade? Okay. All right. So what do you mean by which grade? What do you mean by which grade? Well, of course, CXC, which class? Which class? When you say which class, which grade are you in? I mean, we cater for adults, we cater for high school students. All right, we cater for from grade 4 actually coming up to adults. As I said to you before, CDP Labs Eduservices is one of the schools on the Jamaica Online School Association. So therefore, we have schools in this association that cater for students at the grade 4 to 6 level, 7 to 9, and from 10 to adults. So it all depends on which class you are in. Okay, so you're in grade 11. Wonderful. So for that you're in grade 11, you can go to the description link, and of course you can apply to CDP Lazarus Services, and of course then we can process you from there. A representative actually would make contact with you, give you an orientation, and you get a free trial. Actually, you all will get a free trial, and that free trial, there's a certificate at the end of the free trial, and if you get a certificate, then that certificate can be used to in exchange for a coupon that will give you a discount for the class. And because you're on our live, and because you have participated in the live by creating that conversation, I'm quite sure that CDP Labs will give you a better discount than you would have gotten. So you probably would have gotten 20%. They may give you probably 30 to 40% discount. So don't wait. Go and apply in grade 11. You have exams next year. Don't wait. Okay? All right. Let's continue. Thank you very much. Ayush, which country are you from, Ayush? Which country are you from? Which country are you located? Are you Jamaican? Where are you from? All right. No. So we're going to now move on to find the total surface area. Now, one of the techniques that we use to find the total surface area, and I'm giving out too much information now in terms of how we teach, but I'm going to do it because we're here to help. We're here to help. But if you want to learn more, register with CDP Labs Eduservices. Go ahead and apply. Go to our website, look for CDP Labs Eduservices, and click on the link, and you apply. Good to go. Oh, you're from India. All right, not bad. Not bad. You're from India. Okay. Okay, you can still apply. And I'm not sure if India will show up on our application form, but it should. So go ahead and apply. You're from India. Well, okay, wonderful. All right, not a problem. Now let's continue. And thank you very much for, joining our live. All right. Now, so it says to find the total surface area of the prism. Now, what that means is that the prism it's just like if you wrap a box and you're going to wrap that box with the gift wrapping paper, then naturally that gift wrapping paper will be of a certain size. Good. So read what you're really finding is the measurement of that gift wrapping paper. Just imagine that. All right. Now, so one way in doing that is just to find the area of each of the sides or the faces it will cover. And you're going to add that together to give us a surface area of the prism. Now we know the area of the two triangles already because we know this triangle is 24 and both of them are equal. So we have 24 plus 24 already. Good. So we have 24 plus 24. Now we need to find now the area of the other three sides. Now this part that may seem for some might not be visible, but one secret that I could share with you, you could create this prism out using plain paper if you wish, or you could use, because I've taught students here in the United States, and of course, they were given the task to use plain paper to make different solids. Actually, we gave them the volume, and they were to use the plain paper to make a solid of the given volume, then determine the surface area. Yeah, that's the kind of challenge we'll give our students for them to think critically. Yes, CDPLABS Eduservices is the place to be. All right, let's go. Now, so we want to find now the area of this part of it, right? Now, length times width, because it is a rectangle, because the other shapes are actually three rectangles. So 10 times 22.5, of course, is 250. So we can add that now to what we have here, plus 250. So we're adding all the faces. So we have two more faces to go. Now, of course, we want to now find this base right here, which is 6 times 22.5. All right, so let's look at that. You can do the maths if you wish. I put it in the chat. So 6 times 22, and that 6 is this 6 by this 22.5. And let's see what you get. 22.5 times 6. And our answer is 135. All right, that's 135. So we'll add that now. 135. And we have one more face to add. And that would be this part at the back right here. This 8 times 22.5. So let us do the multiplication for that. All right. Okay. All right. So now we're gonna, that's 22.5 times 8. And our answer is 180. So we're gonna add that now to what we have right here on our screen. And then we'll find the total now of everything. And that will give us our surface area. Again, you can do the maths with us and see what you'll get from your answer right there. All right, so we have 24 plus 24 plus 250 plus 135 plus 180. And that gives us a total of 613 centimeters, square centimeters rather, for the area itself. All right. My bad. My bad. Let's get back. Good. So this is it. All right. So we get the answer. The answer is 613 square centimeters. Or yeah, centimeter, square centimeter. That's the answer. All right. So we basically covered an hour of our session, and I hope you have learned something from this session. And what I'm saying to you, let us recap some of the things that I said. Now, practicing mathematics is key. It's very key, very important. And of course, if you don't practice, then you have problems. So practicing is very important. Two, you have to have a concrete understanding that CDPLABS Eduservices provides to our student. We don't really teach like this. We really make the content come alive to you so you can have a better appreciation, a better understanding for the content and the subject area that is. And of course, practicing is very important. So, and the vocabulary is also important. So really what you're doing is application, application, application. All right. So now we have come to the end of another session. We have one more measurement question to do. And in our next session, we want to do that last measurement question, which is actually this. And then, no, not that, but this one. Good. Which is similar to what we have done earlier, right? I know you want to see how this full 10 marks question is actually worked out. You'll come to you'll join our next session, and then we'll move right into algebra for session number 2. And of course, after algebra, we're going to touch trigonometry because there are some persons who have problems with trigonometry. And of course, we'll go into functions and relations and graph. And of course, vectors and matrices and statistics. So we'll try to cover as much of those areas. So once our subscription is joined, CDP Labs will continue to go live on Thursday nights with mathematics, 8 p.m. Jamaica time. I don't know what time in India it is now. But once again, I want to say thanks to those who stopped by. Thanks to those persons who actually stopped by and participated. Click the like, share the link, and we hope to see you next week. And of course, it is goodbye from your host, Ronique Bernard, a member of the CDP Labs Eduservices, and of course, CDP Labs Eduservices is a member of the Jamaica Online School Association. So wherever you are in the world, have a good night, have a good evening, and have a good morning, wherever you are in the world. See you next week, God's willing, same time, same place. Goodbye.